And once again, it is Saturday, but it's a little bit later due to some technical difficulties. My fault this morning, but it is time for Sales Logic. Mark, you are still in the same location, but I am out of the car back home in Asheville, North Carolina. No, you have been working like a dog since we started this morning.
This is actually the 5th podcast I've done, and I still got one more after this one. So, hey.
Oh my gosh.
What can I say? It's a face for radio on a Saturday morning, huh?
Exactly. You are popular. I am going to hit the video and let's dive in. We got a good topic today.
Prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
All right, that worked a little bit better this time, wouldn't you say?
I would say it did. Yes, it helps when you're not doing 85 on the interstate.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right, Mark, we got a great show today. I'm going to kick off with basically how the show works. Is that every week we come to you with a question. That's where we start the show. So we invite you to be a part of Sales Logic. Just go to saleslogicpodcast.com, enter in your question there. You can reach out personally to either Mark or to me. And then we cover a hot topic. We've got a book that you should be reading. And because we want you to get return on investment, we end with a lightning round. So Mark, what is on topic for today?
Well, on topic for today is how to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. And wow, is this relevant? This is incredibly relevant. The question comes from Sharona in Dublin. She says, for years, we've had the dominant market share in our region, but with new competitors emerging, the marketplace, globalization, and the shift to customers controlling the buying cycle. Oh, wow, we've seen that for sure. We have been steadily slipping for the past 3 years. This downward trend is troubling me, and I'm wondering what we can do to reestablish ourselves as the market leader and stop the bleeding. Have at it, Mayor. Go ahead.
Okay, you want me to dive in and go ahead, Sharona?
Yeah.
Sharona, we've all been there. I mean, I think this is such a good topic to cover, whether you are losing market share or not losing market share. Here's the thing, is where you are, Sharona, is the fact that you're still important to your marketplace, but you're not adding the value. Your competitors have found something to offer that you're not offering. That's why your customers are leaving. So that's where you need to start. You need to figure out what is the most valuable thing in the marketplace. You need to begin by talking to your customers and figuring out what it is, why they're leaving you, or what it is that you could offer to make them stay. Obviously, it isn't the product or service that needs to be differentiated. It's something else that you add on top.
It is. And I say it comes down to four things that impact the differentiation. It is you, your selling process, 2, your product, 3, your customer, and 4, the marketplace. One of those 4 have changed or have not changed to keep up with the change in the last one, the marketplace. You've got to be very close looking at those 4 things to understand.
I love, Adam, that you've hung with us. You've come back on from that short little episode we did this morning. And you're right, differentiating yourself 2.0. That's what we're talking about today. This morning and earlier, Mark, you and I were talking about Apple and we were talking about Uber. I think Airbnb is another great example. What they did was took a marketplace where customers were okay with the service that was offered. They were accepting it. But both of those companies, all 3 of those companies, found an opportunity to offer something a little bit better to help the customer have a better experience. And with that, they took market share.
See, and if you think about that, Uber, Airbnb, and Apple did really all 4 of those things that I described. Now, what's interesting is, sure, we're going to win the best if we do all four, just as Uber, Airbnb, and Apple have done. But we can also win if we just do one of them well. A line that I love to use is, are we spending too much of our time just reacting to the marketplace rather than shaping the marketplace? This is key. We have to ask ourselves, are we reacting to the marketplace? That's customer service. Or are we shaping the marketplace? That is exactly what Uber, that's what Airbnb, that's what everyone out there. You have to be willing to disrupt the marketplace if you want to be seen as a differentiator in the marketplace.
Now, Mark, I think that's a mic drop. I mean, I think that's really the whole crux of this show, right? I mean, stop reacting to the marketplace and start shaping it. Be the one who's disrupting. But that leads to the question of, how do we disrupt the marketplace?
Well, I think it goes to the fact that you got to understand your customer's customer. It isn't just about understanding your customer. That's not good enough. You have to understand your customer's customer, and you have to get to the point where you can bring back to your customers insights about their customers that they don't even know. That's how now you begin to differentiate yourself as a salesperson in the marketplace, because now you're helping your customers do what they do. And I don't care what it is that you sell. I don't care who it is that you sell to. Whoever it is that you sell to, there's still another customer. There's another customer that downstream, and B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. You've got to understand where it goes and how. I'm going to go back. Old example, Cheerio cereal for years was sold as mom approved, kid tested. You see, here was the whole thing. They knew that mom was making the purchase, but the kid had to like it. You see, so they understood that those were the elements. Those were the two elements that they had to use to differentiate themselves. And that's how Cheerios was able to command such. And again, we have seen this time and time again in the marketplace, but too many salespeople, too many companies are just willing to be complacent because, unfortunately, and this didn't happen to Sharona, but the marketplace was just growing and you're just able to take orders and you're just playing customer service and life is just kind of rolling along. And then boom, you get hit. For Sharona, it's been the slow drip over the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think you've got to predict the changes coming in the marketplace. I mean, I think the thing that you need to be asking yourself all the time is, how could we do it better? How could we deliver better? I mean, Mark, you and I were just talking about this. I mean, we're going to get together in July at a conference that we go to. And we were talking about the fact that, we want to look at keynotes. We want to look at what we deliver and really ask, what could we do to up our game? Now, is anything wrong? Absolutely not. I mean, we're working, right? So we should be happy. We should be satisfied. But is there something I could be doing that could deliver on top of that? Is there something I could be providing the market that could make it more valuable to my customers, more interesting to my customers? And we go back to this that we talked a little bit about this morning, is you have to be talking to customers, not just talking to them. Talking to them implies you're talking at them. What we're really talking about is listening to customers. Are you listening for the one thing they're not getting and the one thing they don't need? Years ago, my husband's dental office got flooded out and we had to shut down for a good amount of time. And we had to invest a lot of money to reopen that dental office, a significant amount. We took on a lot of debt at a time in our lives. We were pretty happy to be debt free. And we were looking for the opportunity in the marketplace. And the opportunity was that patients kept telling us that their time was valuable. They were tired of coming into the office, having to sit down, wait a couple of hours to be called back, or got stuck in a chair back in the, in the waiting room, things like that. Just by improving that experience a little bit better, you start to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. It wasn't the dental product or service. It was by listening to what did the patient want and providing that.
And there was really something so simple. It wasn't radical. It isn't like what Adam talks about here in terms of Uber and Lyft and just change the car service more. They disrupted it. You bet they did, on a major scale. Now, it's not like you and I can walk out with billions of dollars of other people's money, from investors and disrupts. Many times it's just simply doing something unique. And I'll tell a lot of salespeople this. If look at water. Look at simple water, okay? 25, 30 years ago, we all got water from the tap, and the tap water was just fine. And then maybe it was really, really cool that we put water in a pitcher and put it in the refrigerator and put a lemon in it. Wow, that was really cool. Now, of course, we drink bottled water and thousands of variations, the same commodity, the same item. But what is it doing? Because the marketplace has changed. The customer's expectations have changed. And if you didn't follow suit, you lost market share. You have to stay ahead of the marketplace. You got to shape it rather than react to it.
Yeah, but I think the companies that we're talking about today, I mean, Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, have you noticed none of them have rested on their laurels? I mean, I notice with my Uber app all the time, it gets better and better and better. I mean, first of all, it was I could call an Uber from anywhere, and I loved it because it had my credit card in there and it would pay for it. Now, then they came along and they would give me the license plate of the person that I was looking for, how long it was going to be until they get it. Now they connected the apps together with Uber Eats and things like that. I mean, they get better and better and better. So they not only disrupt it once, they don't rest on their laurels, they keep improving it. And again, I think that is the most important thing. If you have market share, you need to realize everybody else is gunning for you. And because everybody else is gunning for you, they're looking for that sliver of what you aren't providing. You need to stay ahead of that.
Well, and this is so critical, especially if you've got a dominant market share in the marketplace. Let's go back and let's take a look at McDonald's. If you go back to the 70s, McDonald's is where you ate. McDonald's was, that's where you ate. Now it's as if McDonald's isn't even on the radar screen. McDonald's still has a great presence out there in the marketplace, but it doesn't factor in like it did 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. You see, because what happened was the marketplace changed and the product failed to come with it. Now, okay, you as a salesperson may not have the ability to change your product. I totally get that. But what you can do is you can change how you position it with your customers, and or are you targeting the wrong customers? And if you think about it, this is what McDonald's has done to begin to adapt to a new marketplace. They're not going after the same customer, the same consumer that they were going after 50 years ago, because they know that, okay, they couldn't physically change the product enough because it's what it is and their service model. So they had to change who they went after. And again, you differentiate yourself by understanding where the marketplace is going, and you have to be willing to shape it.
Something there you said that's so key and so important is understanding who you're going after. Because staying in this fast food theme, I think it's so interesting that a number of really healthy fast food restaurants have come up, right? Now, they're not necessarily, they're disrupting the market, but they're not trying to take the McDonald's and the Burger King or even the Chick-fil-A customer away. What they're doing is they're saying there's a segment of the population that is saying they want something, and we're going to provide that opportunity. So understanding who you're going after to differentiate. Sharona, that may be one thing you really want to look at is, as you look to shape and reclaim market share, who is your target market? I've worked so much in the financial services industry, and they're legendary for maybe owning a lot of market share, but a lot of their market share is older. It's not the future. It's not the customers who are going to buy cars and invest in mortgages and do business loans. So as they look to disrupt the market, they may actually lose a little bit of market share because they're trying to claim a different market share.
So much of what you said there is just so key, because if you think about, use that example of fresh and natural in the fast food arena. Those two words didn't go together, but somebody came along and said, wait a minute, we can play in this and bring people into that marketplace. In other words, they shaped the industry. Mm-hmm. And again, how do they do that? By changing themselves, by changing their product. Again, I'm going to come back to, and as we really kind of pivot to, how do you differentiate yourself in the marketplace? What we've been talking about throughout the whole morning here is separating and understanding downstream. What is the marketplace doing, and how do I do a better job of reacting to it? It comes back to, if you don't understand your customer's customer, I'm sorry, you are irrelevant. You will be replaced by a bot on the internet.
Yeah. I think too, as you look at market share, I think it's good to have a goal set around market share. But I'm wondering, Sharona, how you determine market share. Are you determining market share by the number of customers you have within the market or the depth of customers you have within the market? Because market share, what you really want to be looking at is profitability, and what you really want to be looking at is retaining customers. I mean, the first place I would go if I were you is I'd try to build the business from the inside out. I'd really start by talking and engaging with my existing customers and seeing what I could do to make their experience better. Any new customers that go to do business with you are going to be partly sold on what you say to them. They're going to be far more greatly sold on what your customers are saying about you. So start by differentiating the experience with your existing customers, making that experience better, increasing that, solving their problems, and then go out and look to expand market share.
And when you do that, you're creating a moat around them. People who are into venture capital, people who are into funding other companies, one of the things that they'll ask any founder, any kind of an existing company is, what's your moat? What's your moat? How do you keep your customers in your circle? And more importantly, how do you keep the competitors out? You have to create a moat around it. Go back to Apple. This is what Apple's done. Apple's created an ecosystem that, I tell you, once you're in the Apple ecosystem, you can't get out. I don't care how much you pay. You can't escape it. But what they've done is they've created a moat, and it allows them to create a premium experience. It allows them to create one premium thing after another. My wife, just this week, for instance, she took her iPhone back in. She needed a new battery, and her iWatch wasn't working right. And it was absolutely crazy. But they replaced her battery for $49, which I thought was cheap. And B, I think she paid $59 not to repair her watch. She's getting a whole new one at the upgraded model. And she had one of the first generation iWatches. And like my wife said, how can I ever leave the Apple ecosystem? But now let's come back to, how do you do this? You see, you have to understand what is the element of service that you provide. You and I both do this a lot with the clients we service. We have ways of staying in touch with them. We follow up with them. This morning, in between all the podcasts I was doing, I created a checklist for a client and I sent it out to one of them. And this is a key tool. And because you got to be continuously providing customers with things that say, you're relevant. You're helping me make a difference in my marketplace. There's no way I can leave you.
Yeah, I do think, I think when you said there's no way I can leave you, I think the important thing about that is that you have to become such a resource and such a value that they wouldn't think about doing business with anybody else but you. I think about, my husband, Rob's banker. He pretty much calls his banker before he makes any decision at all. I swear, if he's going to buy a piece of equipment to work in the backyard, he'll just call and discuss it with him. They become like this relationship that Rob relies on him. That's a differentiator than any other financial services provider he's ever worked with. So are you that resource? Are you that value add? Are you their first call?
I'll tell you why he calls his banker, because he can't reach you because you're on the road traveling somewhere. That's why he calls his banker. I know, Rob. Yeah.
Right.
But see, this is the whole key thing. As a result, that banker, in fact, it's very funny. I was with a bank a couple of weeks ago. And one of the officers of the bank shared with me, he said, it was kind of funny, but I had a longtime customer. I don't deal in auto loans. He's far, far above that. And he had a longtime customer call him, and he said, hey, what's your current interest rate on auto loans? And he quoted him, and he said, look, I know your auto dealer can get you a cheaper loan. And he said, yeah, I can. But you know what? And he said, how much difference is? And he said, well, it's only going to work out to about $40 a month difference. He said, I want you to do the loan. I'm not going to do it through the auto dealer. Even though he was higher priced, the banker was higher priced. It's because the relationship was so strong between the two.
Yeah. And I'd also venture to say it was probably just easier. I know this isn't a show about price, but that is so often the case. If it's just easier, I know you handle most of the stuff. I'm not going to have to get you a bunch of, financials. All of that is really, is truly built in there. I think that the most important thing that people need to take from this show is to truly understand it really isn't the product that you're selling. People can buy whatever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want to. So you need to be thinking about what you're selling around that product or service that makes somebody want to buy it from you. What are you bringing to the table?
Yeah. Because it's the outcome, is the benefit you create for them. That's really what they're buying.
Absolutely.
Hey, time is slipping away. We got to jump into the book. We jump into the book. There it is. There it is. Go ahead and talk to the audience about it.
Yeah, so I'm back in my office now, so I happen to have it with me. It is Sell It Like a Mango by Donald Kelly. It's a new seller's guide to closing more deals. I really love this book. I read it as soon as it came in. As you can see, it's not very thick. Donald Kelly is a powerhouse, really coming on the sales arena. If you do not follow him, do not listen to his podcast. You really should. And Mark, he's going to be at Outbound,
yes,
correct?
He will. Yep.
Yeah, in September. But this is exactly what we're talking about today. I mean, in essence, he's talking about the mango dealers, the sellers. If you go someplace where they sell mangoes, there's a cart on every corner. Everybody's selling the exact same thing. So how do you get them to buy a mango from you? Hint, it has nothing to do with having the ripest, the freshest, or the best selling mangoes. In the pages of this book, he uses a very simple example of selling mangoes to give you what you need to know and understand to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
That book reminds me so much of the book by Seth Godin, Purple Cow.
Yes.
Purple Cow, right? Again, you got to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. So put your hand on the buzzer, get ready for the final round, because we're into lightning round.
All right.
10 strategies. Top 10 strategies to dominate your market.
Number one, if you want to dominate your market, you better become the expert in your market. People better have heard of you and about you.
Number two, know your customer's customer.
Number three, build your reputation. Realize that people are going to ask other people about you. So build your reputation.
Number four, look for ways not to react to the marketplace, but to shape the marketplace.
All right. Is this number five?
Number five. You're taking a deep breath like, oh no, we're running.
No, I somehow I lost my train of thought there. Just
hold it. That's normally what I do. I normally lose my train of thought. We do the show together so you can keep me on track. Okay.
All right. Number five is that you need to be doggone good at what you do. I mean, you just better be good at what you do, and you better be confident in what you do if you want to dominate your marketplace.
Number six, you have to be continuously bringing insights to your customer that go beyond what you sell, that go into areas that they're engaged with, but probably you're not engaged with, but it demonstrates your relevance to helping them.
Number seven, focus on retention. Once you get a customer through the door, do not let them go out the back door. The hardest thing you ever do is close the first deal. Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Number eight, you may land that customer. This is building on number seven, but you land it and you expand. You always find ways to expand the relationship, just like what Apple did. Apple first came out with that little music thing, and wow, has it morphed into quite a few devices that we all can't live without. Yay, you're up to number 9, so you're going to share one more, and I'm going to share one more.
All right. Number 9 is if you want to dominate your marketplace, then you need to dominate in the sales arena. You need to be somebody who understands and knows the sales industry that you're selling into better than your customer knows it. You need to be the expert, understanding their challenges and their problems.
And I'm going to take the easy way out. Number 10, you do that by subscribing and listening to Sales Logic podcast, right? So anyway, hey, with that, we need to close things down. Thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show. It's how we grow to help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
And remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical.
All right. We'll see you right back here next week, 9 a.m. Eastern, promise, with another episode of Sales Logic. Thank you so much, Adam, for putting Sell It Like a Mango up there. Great book. Definitely catch it. Remember, if you have questions, if you want to be featured on the show, type it into saleslogicpodcast.com. We'll feature you right here. See you next week. Until then, close more deals.